Talk to me about the shape of the aviation industry and in particular the airline as we come into this really important summer travel demand season.
In our part, in the northern part of the hemisphere, we're going to have the summer season, and after the vacation of the schools, it's going to peak up. So compared to the previous years, especially after the corona, 2022 was a revenge purchase. It was a marvelous year. Then we started to build up on top of that. When we look at Turkey had a record tourism last year. 56 million people visited our country. This year our expectation is going to be 60 million visitors. So we're going to break another record. So we are ready as aviation industry and the tourism industry and waiting for our guests to come to Turkey. And we prepared all of our flights accordingly.
Talk to me about the profitability outlook as well. IATA's own numbers say we're on track for record revenues this year, but also record costs. So what does that mean for Pegasus?
After the corona, when we look at the industry, or all industries, but especially the aviation industry, the costs are increased enormously. The costs increase not only on the wage side, but also on the inflation side, the financing cost, and also on the wages, and also on the when we look at the whole industry, in general cost schemes are increased. So if I can give you the figures, the current profitability of the industry for last year is 3.1%. Per customer profitability is $6.1. This is why I brought it. It's the price of a cup of coffee.
Thanks. Right.
Do you know what does this coffee producers in general making profit when we are making 3.1? They are making 11%. Of course they are going to make their own profit. And the peak, the highest level that our industry reached was 5%. When the costs are increasing and when your margins are going down and you cannot adjust your prices accordingly, you're going to start lose your gross margin. This is what's happening.
So what does that mean? Higher ticket prices in the future?
No, because we cannot adaptate that higher ticket price. It's a demand-supply issue. So because there's no demand, so the prices are not increasing as much as the cost increases. What's happening? We are losing our margin. So we are lowering our margins. Why margin is important? 3% is a good margin if you look at it. But our industry is a heavy investment industry. So our turnover last year in the whole global industry is around $900 billion. So our profit is only $30 billion. But we are investing thousands of aircrafts every single year, and per cost of an investment is very high. So if you don't have enough margin, you cannot accumulate enough cash. If you don't have enough cash, besides distributing the dividend, you cannot expand your shareholders' equity. If you don't have a strong shareholders' equity, when you're going for the financing, you have limited access to the financing. That's why a heavy investing industry like ours must have a strong shareholders' equity and cash, and this is coming from the gross margin. And our gross margin, since the corona, is going down.
Nevertheless, the performance of the industry has improved since 2020. Things are looking much better now than they have in the past. So when it comes to expanding the fleet and expanding the service offering, I know you have plenty of aircraft on order. A big question in the industry right now is whether or not you're going to receive them on time. So what's the overall message that you're getting from Airbus and Boeing when it comes to aircraft orders and deliveries? And are you concerned about the industry supply chain right now?
Nowadays, one of the most famous phrases is supply chain disruption. Everybody is having supply chain disruption. There are certain reasons for this, but I believe that in several years' time, when the order books are a little bit relaxed, now there's a huge backlogs for the both companies, manufacturers, and especially for the Airbus. When those backlogs are clean, we're not going to have that much problem on the supply chain. But currently, there's problem, and if they said it's an on-time delivery, it means that at least a quarter of delay on the deliveries.
Right. So when it comes to that expansion, what assurances have you got from those plane makers that they're going to be able to get those planes to you on time?
I can say nothing. No, because
well, that's the issue, isn't it? It's like you see new market opportunities, you see new routes, you want to grow, you can't get those planes.
the problem, each agreement of an airplane is almost 1,000 pages.
Right.
So, and they are 8 puntos, not 12. When we sign the agreements, we are accepting at the start 6 months delays because of that supply chain issues. But, for example, Pegasus sells this summer from last October. And last October, we got a delivery scheme from the manufacturer. According to that, we make our plan and we start to sell the tickets in advance. When the time comes, in June, if we are expecting 3 deliveries and if they are not coming on time, we already sold the tickets 9 months ago, what's going to happen? We are paying it to the customer. The customer is accusing us, punching us, and we cannot explain, sorry customer, it's a supply chain disruption. I couldn't able to get the airplane, so I can't fly you. They won't accept it. That's a big issue, and the burden is on our shoulders as the aviation companies.